introduce our company that we are building AI virtual tutor for all the K-12 students in the world. And in the past 3 years in human-machine competition, well reported by CNBC, NHK, and all kinds of media, our Squirrel AI system outperformed the best human teachers in the students' programs. You know, when we were young, most of us are not satisfied with most of the teachers. It is not because they are not good. It is because we have tens of millions of teachers, but each of them have different teaching styles. It's like different chefs in different restaurants, right? It will not meet everyone's need because every student has his unique characters and unique knowledge statement. So how could we create a super master that can meet every need of every kid? That's what we do. You know, according to the BBC, the New York Times, and Time magazine, teacher is a job that is considered least likely to be replaced. But actually, we are doing this, and until now, we have already 1 million students registered in our system, and we have more than 1,600 learning centers all over China. And the renewal rate is more than 80%. So the student and the parents, they are very satisfied with our product. But how can we do that? Because it's much more difficult to be an AI teacher than the AlphaGo, because the rules of the Go are very simple. But what the teacher should understand are much more complicated. How we do it is from what we understand AI as 4 major characters. First is know all and remember all. You know, Tim Berners-Lee said the AI will master the whole universe. That what we see AI is kind of like God. It understands everything, like IBM Watson. It can read all the materials and clinical record of a doctor's whole life's data in only 17 seconds. And you know, several months ago, AI debater won the human debate champion because it understands all the language and all the argument and all the data and proverb. For the Squirrel AI Learning, we first do the thing that our system to understand all the knowledge that all the teachers in the world knows. So by that, it is like the God of teachers. It understands all the knowledge, all the abilities the student should understand, and know all the profile of all kinds of students. So we see each student as different. For example, when I was young, I'm a good student and I always bored with my teachers. But when I attended the Math Olympic classes, I was fascinated by the teachers because most of the knowledge I have already know. If I have a diagnosed system like Squirrel AI, I can understand that only maybe 3 knowledge points that I don't know, and I will be treated exactly what I need. But for another student, his or her knowledge point state are not the same. And for a poor student, most of the knowledge he didn't know, so our system should give him very easier content to make him understand, because in the class, he couldn't understand the teacher at all. So by this, we try to understand the knowledge state in each student's head, because different students have different character, different preferences, and different learning styles. So we should treat them differently. And also, beside the knowledge point, we scan the students' ability to learn and their critical thinking, and we trace that down. This is our adaptive engine architecture. In the first layer is the ontology. We use learning map and content map to have all the knowledge in our system. And the second layer, we will diagnose with very short time with limited questions to understand the state of the students. And then, by then, we will recommend different content, different videos, different exercise, different cartoons, and different learning materials for the student. And most of the students are very fascinated by our content because it suits them all. We all know Khan Academy do a great job in the education industry, but they give the different students the same content at the same pace, right? But different students, they need different content. And for the third layer, we give the student a navigation system so that the student can find something they want by their own. And we will give small dialogue with the student to understand what they like and what they don't like. And also by the LRS, Learning Record Store, we collect the data of the student in real time, like the question whether they do it right or they do it wrong, or the facial expression and the gesture of the head, and even their brainwave. So by all the data we collect, we will adjust our recommendation in real time for the student. And also the second characteristic of AI is they can recognize the invisible difference in each individual. Zuckerberg said AI could find the conspiracies uncovered by humans. And you know, APP, very famous in China, who now have a valuation of 75 billion US dollars. They give different news to different people. It's not that some people like the Wall Street Journal and sometimes some of the people like the Washington Post. They see very small preferences in different users' profiles. So they have millions of tags for the users so that they can give precisely the right news that you want. So that is the only one app that I love most and hate most, because each night when I'm very tired and bad, and I open the Toutiao and I couldn't sleep for nearly more than 2 hours maybe, because it will attract you to read and read, because all the things it recommended are very suit what I need. And also, they launched the app TikTok in the United States, and in the past 2 months, the downloads of TikTok surpassed the downloads of Facebook, Snapchat, Instagram. So it is amazing. And SenseTime is the biggest startup AI company in China. It deals mostly with facial recognition. It's not like what we do by human, like someone has small eyes or big mouth. They see the faces in millions of pieces. So they have like the pixel of the camera. They see the difference with one face by that face in millions. And also Netflix are gathering massive amount of data of the user profile so that they want to tailor the different appearance for different users. And for Squirrel AI Learning, when we have more than 1 million students, we see that for each knowledge point, different students need different time to fully understand it. Some of the students need only 3 or 5 minutes, and some of the students need 90 minutes. So our system should give different students different learning time, and different pace of language even, and different learning styles. And also, for one student, there's no good student and poor student, because by each knowledge point, each one student needs different time to finish. For example, I was very good at math when I was young, and I won the national first prize in the Math Olympic Games. But I'm very bad at chemistry and very bad at ancient Chinese. So by different knowledge point and different learning content, we should give different students different time and different teaching style and different content to them. So it's a very complicated thing, by only 10 knowledge points for 10 students. It's like a mess, So we have to use AI algorithm to test constantly what the students' mastery and their preference on each knowledge point and each ability of learning. This is our adaptive workflow. We use the content model, the student model, teacher model, and prediction model. For example, no student can understand all the knowledge, and no student can understand all the teacher want to teach. So we have to give dynamic goal for each student, and we also have to adjust the goals in real time. We evaluate the students' learning behavior at every second, and also we adjust what we recommend to them differently. And the third characteristic of AI is the infinite computing power. Elon Musk said the machine treated the communication like 1,000 times a human can do. And Steven Pinker said big data is still finite, but the knowledge in the universe is infinite. So how to teach students, I think that knowledge is kind of infinite in the world. So we constantly gathering all the new data in our system. AI EQ is the second PE equity that will outcompete Warren Buffett. And it will have more than 3 million transactions each day. And it can deal with millions of data each day. And AI outcompete top data players because they can evaluate millions of choices in a millisecond. And SRI, we have a joint lab with them, and they are building a motorboat that will compete with human motor champions. And it can give a very quick decision in a small time. So by us, now we are one of the biggest AI education companies in the world, and compared with our competitors like Newton and Alex, we have 10 times a smaller granularity of the knowledge point. So it's kind of like 10 times pixels in the camera, so that we can see more precisely what the student is. But by that, we need infinite computing power to do all these things. And by now, our system can not only detect and diagnose the knowledge state of the student, we also examine the ability of learning and also examine their way of thinking. But that is more complicated for us because no teachers in the world define abilities and define the way of thinking so precisely. So in the past 3 years, we take a lot of effort to do that. First thing is how to define ability and how to define a way of thinking. And the second is how to measure it for a computer. And the third is how to teach such ability and teach such way of thinking so that it can transform from the knowledge and understanding of the teacher to the understanding of the student. So that's what we do in our engine. The fourth characteristic of AI is self-evolving, and that is why we are a little scared of AI. Because in the beginning, we use supervised learning and we use human knowledge. We gathered more than 300 teaching experts, the best teaching experts, and we use their knowledge and their teaching strategies. But later, when we have more and more students, our AI system generates new strategies, new learning maps, and new learning course for the student. And the strategies even overruled something the teaching expert had well accepted. Like when we were young, we always said something is very important and something is not so important. But actually, we find out that for different students, what is important and what is not important are not the same. So we could not say overall or in general what is important, what learning ability is most important, because different students have different way of thinking. So we have to adapt to each student to understand their way of thinking, their way of learning, and treat them differently. Jerry Kaplan said machine will develop their own instincts. That's kind of like our Squirrel AI and what we do. And AlphaGo, when we said the strong AI are very far from us, and AlphaGo can help Google to save electricity. And also AI could draw the drawings. And 80% of the professional critics could not tell which drawings were drawn by AI and which is by a human being. And also the AI defeated top human Texas players, because this game needs more understanding of the psychology than the pure rules. So for our Squirrel AI system, it's very hard to understand the psychology of each student, and that's what we are trying to do. And also we divided the skills and the sense of learning into very small scales so that we can define it, we can measure it. It's like basic elements. We are not dividing all the things, the abilities, into small pieces. We divide it first, and then we can combine any of them together and to let the student learn and understand. That is in the TV show, and we show in a very famous Chinese host. It's kind of like operating in the United States, and we understand his advantage of his character and the disadvantage of his abilities. And he's very amazed because he said, not only the K-12 students should use Squirrel AI, but each adult should use Squirrel AI to understand themselves more in detail. And also this is the learning ability map of my twin boys. And even they are twins and they appear the same, but their abilities are not the same. So that we should train them differently to make the best of their advantages. That is my twin boys. And now we are using the self-evolving model to make our Squirrel AI system to evolve quicker and better. Because before we built only AI virtual tutor, and now we have more than 1 million students, and we have billions of data by this student. So we will imitate virtual student. So we let the virtual student to compete with the virtual tutor and make our system becoming better and better. And now we are we have raised more than $150 million, and we are running very fast. And we win an award by the Deloitte that our annual CAGR are 600% for the past 3 years. And we were the best teachers in the teaching area, and we are reported by all kinds of the medias. And the students using our system making very good, very big and tremendous progress in their learning. And also the ability they learn can benefit for all their lives, and that can be measured. That is the daughter of my driver. My driver failed his junior high school, and his daughter is going to fail because she always gets 40 points in the exam. That's very bad, but after 1 year's learning, she got 110 points out of 150 in 3 subjects, and entered the best technical school in China. It's held by the Boeing company. It's a trained mechanic. And after another year in our Squirrel AI system, she became the top 3 of her class and was sent to Seattle to learn the last 2 years so that she can stay in America and even work in the Boeing company. So we actually can change a kid's life. And we are donating 1 million student account for the poorest families in China. And we want to help with the equity of the education. We want to give every student the best teachers in the world. And also, I think in the past 20 years, machine replaced human in physical labor. And in the next 20 years, machine will replace human in the mental labor. And our final dream is that we want to build a super AI teacher. That not only a teacher for you, but it's erudite as Socrates and as versatile as Da Vinci and as intelligent as Einstein. Thank you.